Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Friday, November 30th, 2018. Relatively busy news cycle today for a Friday. Lots to talk about. One of the top headlines this morning. Actually, before we get to the top headline, let's do this day in history. Trying to get in the tradition of looking at some events from history before we move on to the current news. Today, November 30th, the 334th day of the year, leaving 31 days remaining. On this day in history, Winston Churchill was born. We often look at government officials and see how they have the perfect birth numerology for their future roles. That was true of Winston, who had the birth numerology of 133, corresponding with the Gematria of government. Remember, words such as president also have that Gematria of 133. When Donald Trump was running for president, many headlines concerning that number, including him being the 133rd richest man in the world and going on Fox News for his 133rd time. So, one more example of the significance of 133. Oscar Wilde, famous writer, dead at age 46, and not only dead at age 46, but dead on his 46th day of his age. And again, we see these numbers around suspicious deaths. We just talked about this recently with Kim Porter. Talked about it with many others in the years we've been doing this research. We've also talked about how often in Paris, France, these types of things occur. Paris, which has its very long Masonic history, and this code of letters and numbers and dates in the calendar year being Masonic. Couldn't help but notice this headline from 2004. Jeopardy fans saw the record winning streak of 74 games come to an end. I'm sure there's a whole lot more to this one, but 74. If you follow this work, you know that number. Very special one. Big number to Masonry. Big number to this code of letters and numbers, Gematria. Jeopardy also has the Gematria 41, and November 30th has 41 date numerology. This space shuttle Endeavour, it did several missions. One of them put the first black woman in space, at least so we're told, and that always jumped out to me because Endeavour has the Gematria 42. The mission date had the numerology of 33, both special numbers to Freemasonry, but 42, this number stamped all over Black history. We're going to talk about that number a little more thoroughly shortly ahead when we talk about what's in the headlines today with 50 Cent and him wanting his son to get ran over by a bus. One of TMZ's top stories today. Also on this day in history, Paul Walker died. Sure you remember this. He died in a red Porsche. And when I first heard that news headline, it reminded me that he was in the movie The Skulls, about Skull and Bones. And in that film, he drives a red Porsche. And consider he died on November 30th. Again, this date has 41 numerology. Skull and Bones, the fraternity, has Gematria 41. The 41st president, George H.W. Bush, was a member of Skull and Bones. So, time flies. I remember 5 years ago when this happened, I was relatively new at this study. I'd only been doing it for a short while. And I was posting on Facebook. I hadn't yet deleted my Facebook account. My friends and family just got too irritating. So I was just like, I didn't want to be on this platform and hear what these people have to say anymore. But I remember sharing this at the time. You know, is it curious that he died in a red Porsche and he was in Skull and Bones and this code, and everyone just thought, oh, Zach, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I said, is it really? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know about the song Murder by Numbers yet. Had to learn that one later. And with regards to Paul Walker's death, there was a whole lot more to it. His death is covered in my book. His full name had that Gematria of 199, the 46th prime, again, sacrifice 46. Remember, Paul Walker equals 120 like Illuminati. We're going to talk about that number in regards to the death of Doc Marquez, who somebody called in and educated us about yesterday. I'm going to show you what's up with his death and that number. But when Paul Walker died, it was 79 days after his own birthday. The word murder with the alphabetic order is 79. And we're going to talk about that number in regards to one of the headlines today that's out about the Dallas police officer who's been indicted with murder charges. And you might recall that story about that Dallas police officer emerged on September 7th. Date can be written 7/9. Today has 79 date numerology. So that's just ahead. But again, the point in looking at history is just to see how these same numbers have persisted throughout history in the same repetitive patterns. So, St. Louis cops allegedly beat undercover cop and then tried to cover it up, indictment says. The officer who was beat was black. And CNN all morning has kept up their post time at 11:33. Think about 33 and police beatings. Do you think of March 3rd, 3/3, the beating of Rodney King by the LAPD? LAPD 33, police 33, masonry 33, secrecy 33, order 33, race war 33. This story comes today, a date with 59 numerology. And as we know, the name Rodney King equals 59. So does Negro, so does slave, so does blues. We're going to talk about these numbers with 50 Cent shortly ahead. Some racial shaming by TMZ today. St. Louis, for the record, no stranger to race-related police headlines. St. Louis has the Gematria of 47 and 74. Policeman's 47. Cops 47. Racist is 47. If you missed the work we were doing on the racist tweets by professional baseball players earlier this year, all of them had a 47 connection. Don't forget, Rodney King died at age 47 either, and he died of drowning on the date that would become, or the anniversary date, which would become the Charleston church shooting, another racially charged incident. The word Christian's also 47. It was a black Christian church that was shot up that had a whole lot of 74 connections. Again, you can use my blog, you can use my book to go back and look at the very repetitive patterns in all of these incidents. This story here today is connected to another racially charged story from last year, September 15th, 2017. Covered this last year. Last year, all the headlines were white officer acquitted for killing black man, black man, black man. Look at the officer's name, 74, like St. Louis. You know. Anyway, these headlines were September 15th, 15/9, like 159, black man, 159. Covered that last year. This story is connected because these 4 police officers were assigned to work that crowd of protests on September 15th. And the story is there was also an undercover cop in that crowd who goes by the name LH, who ended up getting beaten by this group of cops. So what's interesting is from the date of that crowd over the black man killing by the white cop, Jason Stockley, from that to this news today is 441 days later. Notice that's also 63 weeks. And here's another number we talk about often in these rituals. Racism equals 63. Remember, they opened up the Emmett Till case 63 years after his killing. They shamed Bill Cosby with the same headline 63 days apart about him being a sexually aggressive predator. Roseanne Barr was fired from her show 63 days after it began because of a racist tweet. Again and again, same numbers used. And the black officer who was beaten, supposedly his name is LH. They're not giving him any more of a name, just those 2 letters. LH does have Gematria of 11 and 34. Black is 11 and 34. This news comes today, the day leaving 31 days left in the year, the 11th prime number. So that's one police story in the headlines today. Another is this. Former Dallas police officer. Whoa, what happened when I clicked on that? That was weird. Is that a glitch? Huh. Anyway, former Dallas police officer Amber Geyer indicted for murder. And we've been talking about this story from the beginning. If you recall the sequence of events, I showed how the first Thursday night football game of September 6th was all about the number 26. September 6th had 26 date numerology. It was the 26th of Elul. It was coded all over the game. We talked about why the Eagles would beat the Falcons, what it had to do with last year's Super Bowl and the flag, and yada, yada, yada. The game ended up being a huge 26 ritual. And then what followed were a bunch of news stories with the number 26, including this. This story emerged September 7th, the day after that football game, but the killing was reportedly September 6th, which was the date with 26 numerology, which is also the 26th of Elul on the Jewish calendar. There were a series of stories that came out within that 24, 48-hour window, and they were all focused on 26. And we talked about when this story broke how it seemed to be synced up with the NFL football season. And again, for years, we've been showing how news and sports are scripted together. Often, how I've called championships months in advance has been by using the news. Before I move ahead, just notice the officer who terminated Geyer. The surname is Hall, which equals 33, like police, like masonry, like secrecy, like order. But anyway, check this out. This headline comes today, a date with 79 numerology, murder 79, reminding of how Paul Walker died on this day 79 days after his birthday. Everybody I knew said I was crazy for suggesting there was any type of foul play. Sheep will be sheep. But again, this news also broke September 7th, a date that can be written 7/9, like murder. We talked about that then. Today's date also has 41 numerology. Dallas also equals 41. Dallas also equals 13. 41's the 13th prime for all you football fans. Dallas just won to start week 13 in Dallas with 13 points. And we'll talk more about that game later, further showing how sports are scripted together. So again, here was the news the day of. We talked about the date numerology of 26, the 26th of Elul on the Jewish calendar, the death of a 26-year-old. His name was Shem. And that is a Hebrew name. The Hebrew name for God has a Gematria value of 26. These are all those things we were pointing out when this story happened. His name, the man who was killed, his name has this Gematria like Vesica Piscis, the shape of the football. And where he was killed had the Gematria of murder and football, the South Side Flats. Killed on Lamar Street at number 42. So what's interesting is from the day he's killed to this news is 85 days later, and National Football League equals 85. And next week, the Dallas Cowboys will face the Philadelphia Eagles, who won the football championship in their 85th season. And if the Cowboys win next week, their record will become 8-5. Again, news and sports scripted together, contrived again and again. A lot of these news stories are completely fictitious. Who's named Botham Shem Jean? My guess is this story never happened. Amber Geyer, the officer who killed Botham Shem Jean, she was arrested on 9/9, like how this is the 99th NFL season. September 9th also leaves 113 days left in the year. Dallas equals 113. Notice the name Amber, 96, like how the killing was September 6th, 9/6. We'll talk about some of these other numbers. She's got the 33 like police. Her name equals 56. She was arrested on a date with 56 numerology. Arrested by the Texas Rangers, 74. Amber Geyer, also 52. So just some backstory. Now, today, the date of this news, date with 59 numerology as well. Geyer and Botham both 59. 59, this number stamped all over Black history. Negro, slave, blues, jigaboo, Rasta, they all sum to 59. Today's date also leaves 31 days left in the year. Botham equals 31. Geyer equals 31. What else equals 31 is killer. You know, that would fit in here. 31 is also the 11th prime. Football is a game of 11 on 11. So, you know, it's a lot to dismiss as coincidence when every single detail of pretty much every single story rolls out so perfectly by this code. Last night, this story emerged. Remember, there was a shooting at Hoover, Alabama Mall on Thanksgiving Day, late in the evening. Then they blamed it on the wrong young black man who was former military. Now they say they arrested the right person and they made this arrest on Thursday. The shooting was on Thursday. Then 1 week later on a Thursday, they arrest the correct shooter. If you missed the past videos, everything about this mall shooting has been by the same repetitive numbers, including the man who was first blamed, who had a name that had the same Gematria shooting. So anyway, here's the latest. Again, the shooting was on a date with a life lesson number of 44. 44 numerology, shooting equals 44. It was on a Thursday, 44. Now, yesterday, they arrest the shooter in Georgia. And notice Georgia and shooting, 44 and 37, perfect match. The latest shooter is Aaron Martez Daquan Brown, Gematria of 116, like Thursday. And he was arrested by the U.S. Marshals, 32 on the day, leaving 32 days left in the year. What else jumps out about this man's name is it sums to 307, which is the 63rd prime, like how JFK was killed in 63. If you missed my video on the Redskins-Cowboys game from Thanksgiving Day, I showed how they paid tribute to JFK getting assassinated in Dealey Plaza. Redskins 54, Dealey Plaza 54, JFK 54. There were 54 points in that game. But anyway, 307 is the 63rd prime. Also, his name equals 118, like death, also like Dallas, Texas, where JFK was killed. And again, this is what it is with the news. Repetitive tributes to history. Keep in mind, this arrest came on the same day in history that the Warren Commission was formed, which was what investigated JFK, his killing. The word Freemason also sums to 307 in Jewish Gematria. JFK was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a Freemason, in 63. Thursday, for the record, has Gematria of 35 and 44, like how JFK was the 35th president, but also the 44th term president. Remember, JFK, the only Catholic president. Catholic equals 35 and 46. JFK dead at 46. And the sacrifice number as well. Yesterday, it was pointed out during the live stream that 42 caravan members who were arrested on this past Sunday won't be charged. We didn't do the Gematria breakdown of this, but charge equals 42. And 42, when written out as a word, also sums to 74. Again, the arrests were on a date with 74 numerology. How perfect. The announcement of no charges was on a date with 58 numerology. Freemasonry, Secret Society 58, Freemason 42, Masonic 74. Another story in the headlines today, John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. And I just want you to see the mocking here. What's emphasized in the headlines, and then how it relates to the story. So we have the curious case of the killer clown emphasized. We have cruel limbo emphasized. Anytime the media puts words in parentheses, it's because there's gematria behind them that are relevant. Cruel limbo sums to 47. What do we know about 47? Signature of the Masons. The curious case of the killer clown sums to 139, like Freemasonry. Perfect. This boy that this story is about disappeared on August 5th. 5/8, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58. Where is Jimmy? Emphasized. Cruel Limbo emphasized again. This is about the John Wayne Gacy killings who dressed up as a clown. John Wayne Gacy 61, Cruel Limbo 61. 61 is the 18th prime. This story coming at the end of 2018. Where is Jimmy? That equals 67, like clown, like killer. What else do we know about 67? Blood sacrifice equals 67. Satanic equals 67. Freemasonry, when you use the rule for S, is 67. The Curious Case of the Killer Clown also has gematria of 167, like the Where is Jimmy headline. 167 is the 39th prime. Masonry and Secrecy both have gematria of 33 and 39, the two reduction-based ciphers. Gacy supposedly killed 33 boys. This boy, Jimmy, the date that's attributed to his passing, June 12th, 1981. 612 is a special number in itself. If you read my book, you'll learn more about 612, connects to the Masons. But this date has 118 numerology, like death. We just covered this in a big way in regards to Kim Porter. Killer Clown also has the gematria of 163 and 64. 163 is the 38th prime. Death, murder, killing, and RIP all equal 38. Kill equals 64. Talked about Kim Porter dying on the date with 44 and 64 numerology, and how each month when there's date with 44 and 64 numerology, we see suspicious deaths again and again. So can't emphasize it enough. This code always points in one direction. The only thing I can say about Freemasonry, in light of what we've covered in recent days, is perhaps Freemasonry isn't what it was supposed to be. You know, we covered the stories from the late 1700s about it being infiltrated by a branch of Freemasonry that called itself the Illuminati. And yesterday we talked about how the whole network was co-opted and needed to be torn down to the ground. That was given by that was a speech given in Europe by a powerful Freemason. He said Freemasonry was done for. It needed to be ended because it was co-opted and corrupted. So, again, I think this is what all Freemasons need to know, what their fraternity has really become about. It's not just brotherhood and knowledge. There's sick stuff going on here. And, you know, it's undeniable when you look at it, when you know the code. So today, big tsunami warning. Alaska got rattled this morning. Last I read it was a 6.7 magnitude quake. Today's date has the 52 numerology. Earth equals 52. Earth also sums to 25 like tsunami, the reflections, 25 and 52. Where the quake happened was at the coordinate, the 59th parallel north. Today's date has the 59 numerology. A little bit inland from Anchorage, but not too far from Anchorage. If there's anybody in Anchorage who felt this quake, I would love to have your phone call today. Where the quake hit is known as the Cook Inlet. Gematria 41, also going with today's date. That's what we see often in these earthquakes that make the news headlines. They seem to be perfectly in sync with the date. 6.7 also reminds me of 67, the 19th prime. Quake and Chaos have the gematria of 19. HARP is also located in Alaska. HARP, the acronym, has the gematria of 44. If you're not familiar with HARP, it's the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Even our own History Channel did a documentary on this probably over 10 years ago now, showing how this thing can create earthquakes on command. Anyway, HARP 44, like military, like earthquake. And it reminds me that the G20 began today in Argentina. Could be unrelated, could be coincidental. But Argentina has that gematria 44. Not even a week ago, There was the story out of Argentina about the sub being recovered that had 44 sailors aboard who all died. Also in the news today, El Paso to drink treated sewage water due to climate change drought. Suppose this is going to be the first U.S. city to drink water treated from sewage. And it makes me wonder if this is even true. When I lived in Phoenix, Arizona in the early 2000s, I thought that water must be sewage. Oh my God. One of the best things about living in the Pacific Northwest is we have good drinking water up here. And I mean, I'm sure there's other places like Arizona, but Arizona, if you fill up your water with the tap, your water's all white. Up here the water's clear. In Arizona, the water's white, and it has like a film to it. Definitely a taste. It's gross. Anyway, I used to wonder if that water was treated sewage. So today leaves 31 days left in the year, right? In our two reduction-based ciphers, El Paso's 31 and El Paso, TX is 31. And better yet, sewage water is 127, which is the 31st prime. Earlier this week, we talked about the water report, about how a third of the nation's water supply is not at the EPA requirements, meaning there's harmful toxins in the water that aren't supposed to be in there. And my guess is it's probably a lot higher than a third. What I know is there's a lot of harmful toxins in our water that are, sanctioned by the government, purposefully put in there. So anyway, perfect day for sewage water and for them to say it's going to be El Paso to get it first. So, I don't know about you, but if I was in El Paso, I'd be getting out of town. And I don't know if I was you, but I think anywhere we live, we should really consider what we're doing to the planet. I started to read about these types of things when I was in high school, and the destruction to the planet and the consequences of the way we eat and consume. And I learned just about, how wasteful we are with so many of the Earth's resources, including water. And that made me change my diet. So again, that's another reason to eat a plant-based diet. You consume a lot less resources, including water, from the earth. So I think the people of the world really need to wake up, and I'm sure a few people in El Paso, Texas are going to wake up today after reading this. I'm sure a few people in El Paso are already looking how to move. I would not want to be drinking any treated sewage water. I'll tell you that much. I don't think anybody would. But now you can understand why the news comes today. And again, that's why I say, are we sure this isn't already happening in other places? To me, this just feels like a mockery putting this out on this date. Another top headline today, Starwood Hotels, which owns Marriott and a number of other big chains, supposedly they had a mass data breach and 327 million people have been impacted. Now look, today has 59 date numerology. Starwood Hotels is 59. How perfect. This number 327 million, those are the prime factors of 42. 3 times 2 times 7 is 42. Marriott's 42, who put out that number. I've said this before with all of these big data breaches that just have become part of the regular news cycle. It seems like it's a huge company once a month now. I believe what's going on here is this is, more fear-mongering to get we, the people, the consumers of the world, to go out and buy more services. Ever since this started, there's been an upsurge in advertising of protecting your identity online. All sorts of services advertised, radio, television, magazines, papers, online ads, everywhere. And the way I look at this is all of these major companies, it's not like Marriott hotels or Starwood Hotels wants to be this headline today that they gave up all this data of their customers, because surely they're going to lose customers and people will be like, okay, I'm not going there anymore. It's going to be it for some people. But I really do think at the end of the day, these major corporations, they're pretty much one big allied network, and they realize a loss for Marriott, a loss for Starwood today is a bigger gain for the overall network, which also probably controls many of the things that'll be selling these consumer protection products. So the lost sales for Marriott will be gained within the network and boosted sales elsewhere. And then there's another part of me that thinks, there's just more and more people, pretty much every city is suffering from terrible traffic, no matter where you go, no matter what time of day it is, no matter what day of the week it is, unless you live out in rural places. But cities are really bad now. Airports are really bad. It almost seems like this might also be a way to curb, some traffic, even at the airport and hotels. I know in Seattle, you can't even get a hotel anymore. They're just always booked. So anyway, that's my take on it. Definitely news by the numbers. Here's another story. We covered this. There was something about this earlier this year in April 2018. We covered it then. DJ Khalid or people always tell me I pronounce his name wrong. I don't really care. This irrelevant guy, Khalid, whatever his name is, who cares? DJ Nobody, Floyd Mayweather Jr., charged with cryptocurrency fraud. And they were connected to this company earlier this year, where the founders of the company were arrested on April 1st. And that company, Centratech. So look at this. Again, they're getting busted by the Securities and Exchange Commission, which equals 179. That's the 41st prime number. Now, the founders of this company were arrested on 4/1, April 1st, right? And Floyd Mayweather right now is 41 years old, the bigger name here. The man also getting the bigger fines here. Here's the story right here. Centratech, they were arrested April 1st. That was a date with 43 numerology. We'll talk about why 43 matters as well in just a moment. But it was also 4/1. So notice from Floyd Mayweather's 41st birthday to this news today, it's 9 months and 7 days, or 40 weeks, right? Centratech has this gematria of 97 and 173. That's the 40th prime number. So perfectly synced with Floyd's birthday. And again, the story's been ongoing for some time now. So you got to go, well, why did they wait to do this until today? Well, when you know the code, you can start to understand why. Okay, they did it today because it syncs up perfectly with Floyd's birthday. And then DJ Khalid, or again, whatever his name is, Centratech, 43. He just turned 43 years old. And these guys were arrested 4 + 1 + 20 + 18 on a date with 43 numerology. I don't know if this is to bring more attention to the company, if it's to bring more attention to cryptocurrencies, if it's to deter people from cryptocurrencies. To me, it seems like the whole world of cryptocurrencies is controlled, by the same cabal. And I have people call into my radio show every single week telling me that, I need to start my own cryptocurrency and it's a good way to make a fortune. But I don't know. I figure if you can just create a cryptocurrency and make a fortune, then anybody could do it. It just sounds too good to be true to me. But no matter what it is, what it definitely is news by the numbers. So leave it there. Next story up, 50 Cent. I wouldn't care if my son got hit by a bus. Wasn't hard for me to, I got to tell you something honestly, guys. I wish I was doing it in real time with the camera on me, because I said, I wonder what kind of racial shaming story TMZ has up today. TMZ, you can always count on them for a racial shaming story on a date with 59 numerology. It's like, I feel like that's what the point of this entire news network is, honestly. But here it is. We got the 59 date numerology. TMZ happens to equal 59, like Negro, like slave, like blues, like jigaboo, like Rasta. And the two numbers stamped all over Black history are 42 and 59. Think about Black history on the bus 42, right? 50 Cent happens to equal 42. And, just par for the course. Again and again, these numbers coming together. His son that he wants hit by the bus is 21 years old. And this news comes exactly 21 weeks after 50 Cent's birthday. When you write out 21, it happens to sum to 42. And that same cipher, a lot of things connected to Black history sum to 42, including February, the only month that sums to 42 in this cipher, Black History Month. Remember, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year, February 28th. Again, today's also the day leaving 31 days left in the year, the 11th prime, Black equals 11. Shaming Black folks by the numbers. Look what else TMZ has up. Nicki Minaj reignites war with Cardi B. Tyra Banks, I'm down for Cardi and Nicki peace treaty. All these headlines come today. And then here's another story following that one. Also on this date with 59 numerology, you get the story of a white woman, Kendra Wilkinson. And if you go to TMZ and watch their story, she's crying in the camera, saying how much she loves her man, Hank Baskett, the former NFL receiver, and how she just wasn't good enough for him. And, it's a story that just makes, it just feeds on those stereotypes. All of these stories are meant to feed on stereotypes. Black people are, I don't even need to repeat them. But that's what all these stories do. They all feed on stereotypes. Black men are bad fathers. Check. Black people are dumb. Check. Black men aren't good to their women. Check. You see what they did here with their headlines? Their top stories at TMZ today. Plus, like I said, today leaves 31 days left in the year. Hank Baskett, 31. Story will make you go, oh, poor white woman. Abandoned by her black man for a different woman because she wasn't good enough for him. It's called programming right there. And look how Tiger Woods comes up. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is exactly what I'm talking about, you guys. Did that just come up? I just noticed it. But let's take a little Gematria break here to remind the Gematria of Tiger and Woods. Oh, wait. For some reason, Gematria doesn't work for me on Chrome anymore, but it still works on Firefox. Tiger, 59. Notice the 76 as well. Woods, 59, 76. Remember, the Million Man March was on the day leaving 76 days left in the year. Negroes, 59, 76. Slave, blues. So anyway, we know why Tiger's day was ruined today, who's 42 years old at the moment. God, you know what else? I'm going to show you what's up with Tiger today. Today's 30 days to his birthday. His birthday is December 30th, just like LeBron James. Here, I'll just show you real quick. Tiger Woods' birthday, December 30th. LeBron James' birthday, December 30th. LeBron's 33, Tiger's 42. What's 12 plus 30? 42, right? Oh, I want to show you something about the N-word. You see the Gematria of 30 and 42? Today's 30 days to Tiger's upcoming birthday on 42 day. LeBron James got the 42 stamped on him like Tiger's got the 59. So anyway, I don't think I can make my point any more clearly, especially with the Tiger Woods headline popping up like that. All right, now we got Richard Branson saying Virginia Galactic will take people to space before Christmas. Now, keep in mind, in October, he said that they were just weeks away from taking their first tourists to space. He said it won't be months, it'll be weeks. Well, we're starting to get to the months, It's been, I believe it'll be December 6th, will be 2 months since he said that. So, anyhow, Richard Branson's 68 years old. And I've said before, I think people like Branson and Bezos and Musk and all these people are fronts for government operations. That is my belief. So from his birthday, July 18th, to today's news, November 30th, is 135 days later. And what's Virgin Galactic equal? Oh, 135, right? Richard Branson also has some nice overlap with Virgin Galactic. Another big number with 135 is the Central Intelligence Agency, 135. And notice CIA 68, like Branson's age. And the CIA is a massive mind control operation. Remember earlier this year, they appointed their head of the CIA as a woman in the age of the female takeover, Gina Sherry Haspel, 135, and she was nominated on May 13th. You'll recall she was confirmed May 17th. 4 days later, the 137th day of the year, where Washington, D.C. is 137, and she was confirmed 137 days from her own birthday. Her name, Gina Haspel, also has that gematria of 47 and 52 like government, 178 like Star of David. Who does the CIA really work for? So the CIA does everything by the numbers. Mind control is also 137, and that's what the CIA is, a mind control operation. MK Ultra, the work of the CIA, MK Ultra 33, 137, the 33rd prime. Government is essentially mind control. That's what the word means. Mind control. The CIA is the brain of the government. And the space program is a big part of their mind control operation. It's here to remind us how great and advanced government is and why we should bow down to government and pay our taxes so they can advance science. But ask yourself, has any of this ever helped anybody? Who's going to be taking vacations to space? Billionaires? The same people who don't pay taxes and live off the investments of we, the taxpayers and the consumers and the people who work for these corporations? If you read the story, the people who fly into space with Virgin Galactic, they're going to go at least 50 miles into space, which apparently is the qualification to earn your astronaut wings. So you'll be given a pair of those for taking the tour. Astronaut has the gematria of 30, and what's today? November 30th. Scottish, as in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which has always controlled the space program, equals 113, the 30th prime number. And don't forget, NASA was established on a date with 113 numerology in the year 58, Freemasonry 58, Science 58. Freemasonry is also 59, and today's news comes on the date with 59 numerology, which we've been covering. 59 is also the 17th prime, Space 17, Mason 17. They said this is going to happen before Christmas. Christmas has that gematria at 38, like Virgin, is in Virgin Galactic. And they're saying this is a big recovery from the tragedy on Halloween 2014. I remember those days, making the video on the whiteboard in front of the TV. And it's funny that I have this in my mind because I was wondering if it was true. When I made that video, somebody left a comment that they worked at CNN and they let me know that Aaron Burnett was watching my video on the Virgin Galactic crash that day. And I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "I promise, it's going on right now. She's checking out your video." And I was thinking, man, that'd be something if CNN did a video on my work. Well, it still hasn't happened. But anyway, that was on Halloween. Remember, Halloween is 10 plus 31, 41. Halloween also equals 41 in gematria. Today's 11/30, another 41 date. And that date in history had numerology of 75 and 55. Christmas. They're saying they're going to have this show on the road by Christmas. Christmas this year is going to have that same date numerology as well. This was a deadly crash here. And consider, Christmas does have that gematria 38 like death. In recent years, we've seen celebrity deaths on Christmas. Who was the guy who sang "Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart" and then he died on Christmas? I can't think of who that was right now. That was just the other year. Him and Princess Leia died about the same time. Then Princess Leia's mom died. So the world of sports yesterday, it was the first game of week 13 in Dallas. Dallas equals 13. And look, they went on to win 13-10, right? 13-10. And the Saints winning streak was snapped at 10 games with their 10-point loss. And as I pointed out before the game, I said this was a real possibility here. I said if you write out 10 as a word, T is the 20th letter, E is the 5th, N is the 14th, 10 equals 39, like how Drew Brees is 39 years old. Look how many passing yards Drew Brees had at the half. How many yards did he have? Hey, what is going on with that today? I have never seen this before. You click on it, it takes you to the bottom of the page. Can you make that out? Drew Brees had 39 yards passing at the half yesterday. That's what I knew it was over. That's what I knew. And Dallas was also up 13-0 at halftime. Just Thursday night football equals 257, which is the 55th prime number. 55 is the 10th triangular number, the 10th Fibonacci number. So anyway, massive mocking. More evidence of just how rigged these games are. By the way, Cowboys equals 102 in Gematria. The Saints fell to 10-2. The Saints also had their opportunity to win their 13th game against Dallas all time. That didn't happen. Instead, they lost to start week 13 in Dallas to the Cowboys, who scored 13 points. And another thing we pointed out before the game was that it was being played on a date with a life lesson number of 51. And with a Saints loss, they would fall to 5-1 on the road. The Cowboys would improve to 5-1 at home. That did happen. 5-1 and 5-1, road and home records, respectively. Look at CNN, or not CNN, but ESPN's timer here. And I've been teaching about this for 5 years too. They make their timer lengths for their videos that have to do with the numerology that was on the game. So Saints only scoring was 10 points in the third quarter. What's 10 plus 3? 13? Dak Prescott, by the way, also picked up his 29th win on the 29th of November. It was Dak Prescott's 45th game. When you write out 13, it equals 45. So does New Orleans. So does Drew Brees. So congrats to Jules. I know Jules had the Cowboys. From now on, when I see Jules pick a team other than who I pick, I'm just going to go with Jules' opinion. Trust that female intuition. And by the way, something that I overlooked that dawned on me during the game about the halftime scores when I thought of this. I talked about how it was Jason Garrett's 132nd game and how Catholic Church equals 132. Catholic Church also equals 75. Cowboys improved to 7-5. And if you missed the decode, if you're not, or everyone here is probably on Patreon, so you probably saw it. But this game was perfectly synced up with the Pope. A number of Saints games have been this year, so must be some Catholics on that Cowboys team. And of course, the receiver who had the big game was number 13. Number 13 had the big game there. Of course he did. Remember what happened to this guy? His brother just committed suicide when the Cowboys were playing in Atlanta, when this guy's from Atlanta. It's 43 date numerology, Dallas Cowboys, 43, suicide, 43. So the rigging behind this game, or these games, it's not all fun and games. People are being murdered for these rigged games. It's tragic people are still going to them after 5 years of exposing just how scripted it is. And I mean, who couldn't see this? I mean, who just can't even see this with their own eyes? Oh, wow, first game of week 13. Oh, wow, the Saints streak ended at 10 games. I mean, that should just be enough right there. What more do you even need to see? You learn Gematria and then you go, oh my God, that's exactly what happened for me. I knew these games were rigged from the time I was 9 years old. 9 years old. That's how long I've been smarter than the average American. Some of you guys get mad at me. They're like, Zach, we get tired of your arrogance. Well, sorry, I just got to tell you how it is. I got to tell you how it is. It gets real old being smarter than America from the time you're a little child. You know, it's almost 30 years later for me. It gets old. See if you can ever find an El Chapo headline that wasn't emphasized like this. El Chapo, of course, equals 33. Story about him wearing Kmart suits. From billionaire to wearing Kmart suits. Guess what Kmart suit equals? 33, same cipher. No story came on the 333rd day of the year. Noticed it was 239 days after El Chapo's birthday. That's the 52nd prime. Government 52. He's 61 years old. 61's the 18th prime. Kmart's 18. Derek down in the comments caught something really cool. Derek pointed out that from when Sears Roebuck and Kmart merged, it was 714 weeks earlier, and Sears Roebuck and Co equals 714 in Jewish Gematria. Derek's always looking for those big number connections. And be sure to check out Cody Miller's Instagram. Hold on, I got to find this. I got to show you guys this real quick. Here we go. This guy, I don't really know how to use Instagram. It confuses me, but I can look at it like this. His account is Highly Educated 710, and he's putting together these cool, I guess you'd call them memes, full of Gematria. He's got a lot of really good ones. So come here to Highly Educated 710 and come take a peek. And I think this is a really effective way to do it. You know, short, to the point, they capture people's eyeball. You should get on this one, how his holdout ended 99 days after his birthday. 5/23, the 99th prime. Just before the 99th NFL season. But yeah, these are very cool. I need to figure out how to start making these. I don't know how to do that. I've been looking for more headlines about G20. The only thing I saw was yesterday that Angela Merkel's plane was diverted after technical issue. Notice the three headlines here: Russia, plane. Russia equals 87 like plane. Must be something going on there with that. 87 factors into 3 times 29. Oh my God. I just thought of something. Oh my goodness. I'm going to feel really dumb for thinking about this right now, but I just got to check in real time. Is 29 the 10th prime number? Oh my God. This is what I should have caught yesterday about the football game, with the streak ending at 10 on the 29th. That was the number right there. I hate seeing things after the fact. But there's another reason that the streak ended at 10 games on the 29th. And Dak Prescott picked up his 29th win. And now the Cowboys are on a 4-game winning streak, and when you add 1 through 4 together, it equals 10. Yeah. So anyway, this story yesterday, it just made me think of that because I saw how 3 times 27 is the prime factorization of 87. 3 stories on the 29th that all relate to 87. Anyway, just getting a little creative there. But this story came 19 weeks and 3 days after Merkel's birthday. That's a lot like 193, the 44th prime, Argentina 44. She was on her way to Argentina. Her plane had a technical issue. Yesterday had 58 date numerology, technical issue 58. Looked like another just numerology-based story. Did her plane really even have an issue? Probably not. Also, just a reminder, if you ever see my YouTube videos and see this guy's comment, always be sure to write him. He does great work. Talked about Jared Kushner getting this Order of the Aztec Eagle award. And again, this guy's name is Strikes V3, Strikes V3. Always great observations. He said the news broke on the 26th. And the only thing that he seemed to not catch was that Aztec equals 26. So good day to get such an award. And then yesterday, somebody called in and brought up this person right here, Doc Marquise. When the person who called in, they didn't realize that this man had just died days ago, November 20th, 2018. But, oh, that's driving me nuts. I don't know what's going on with that today. He was a Christian writer who claimed to be an ex-member of the Illuminati. According to his version of events, he was initiated into the group at the age of 4 by his foster aunt, became a high priest at 13 and a master witch at 17 before eventually leaving in 1979. He claims that since then, the Illuminati has tried to kill him. He says that other people involved with the Illuminati include Charles Manson, Sharon Tate, and alleged alien abductee Whitley Strieber. So that was the biggest, most obnoxious individual he'd ever met. He also claimed that the protocols of the Elders of Zion is a genuine evidence of a conspiracy, but one organized by the Illuminati rather than the Jews. And look at this. He just died at age 62, right? We know sacrifice is 62. He died on a date with 69 numerology. Illuminati 69. And he died 25 days after his birthday. Death is 25. Notice how his name in the 4 base ciphers overlaps with Illuminati. It is the same in 3 of the 4. Remember we were talking about Paul Walker had that Illuminati connection? How he played in that movie about Skull and Bones, an Illuminati Masonic organization. Died by the murder code. This man's full name also has some standout gematria. 193, the 44th prime. 76, number that connects to symbol. Also blood sacrifice. 239, the 52nd prime number. 52 has a lot to do with Kabbalah and the Cabal and government and authority. 86, another symbol number. Both of these numbers have to do with blood sacrifice as well. So, thought it was interesting how his name synced up so well with Illuminati in light of him saying he's Illuminati. Another name that came up yesterday was William Huntington Russell, one of the founders of Yale Skull and Bones. And I wanted to go back and look at his death. And I noticed right away that he died on the 139th day of the year. That's what day May 19th is. Freemasonry 139. Not only that, but he died on his 281st day of his age. That's the 60th prime number. The word skull has gematria of 60. Let me just, oh, it's not working. You can plug it in gematria. Skull does equal 60, so does order. So his death, a perfect date for the relation to Skull, founder of Skull and Bones. He also died 85 days before his birthday in the year 85. The word Templar equals 85, and the Templars used to bury bodies in ossuaries. That's where the symbolism of Skull and Bones comes from, an ossuary. Ossuary is a box. If you don't know what an ossuary is, what you would do is you'd take a dead body and you would place it in shallow dirt and you would leave it there until it decomposed. And then after it decomposed, you would collect the bones and you would put them in this box known as an ossuary. And the final way to put the bones in is by putting the thigh bones, the crossbones up at the top, and then the skull on the very top. And that's where the symbolism of Skull and Bones comes from. So that was a Templar tradition. The Knights Templar are Masons of history's past. How interesting that he also died 85 days before his birthday in 85. And his name, William Russell, has gematria of 185, like Secret Society. Again, he died on the 139th day of the year. Freemasonry equals 139. So does the Bavarian Illuminati 139. The date he died had 127 numerology, like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Again, the Bush family, who are members of Skull and Bones, they have a picture up inside the House of the Temple, the Scottish Rite headquarters. All of these Masonic fraternities are interconnected. This man was also 75 years old when he died, and Skull also equals 75. So both those names came up yesterday, and both men very numerological deaths. Russell also has that gematria of 47, as does Huntington, as does William. How perfect is that? The Masonic logo set at 47 degrees. all three of his names, Gematria 47. So those are the main things that I wanted to present today. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the phone line here. And if you want to call in, the number is 509-731-0567. Again, 509-731-0567. I'll also come out to the chat here. If anybody's got a question in the chat. Ed, if you're out there, I got your text message. I was trying to find your email. I was having trouble locating your email that you sent me. If Ed's out there and you could send me an email that says this is Ed in the title, that would be awesome. Hello, caller.
Hey, Zach, it's me again.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to correct a mistake that I made yesterday. I said that the Eyes Wide Shut release date in the United States of July 16th coincided with the death of St. Ignatius of Loyola. That was incorrect. St. Ignatius did not die on July 16th. What I meant was Eyes Wide Shut premiere of July 16th coincides with the anniversary of the Congress of Wilhelmsbad, which was July. So that was a mistake I made.
I see.
And I think I know why they did that, because it was Eyes Wide Shut was an Illuminati whistleblower movie, because Kubrick had that inside information and he was trying to warn the world.
Right.
But he died before the movie was released, so he had no authority as to when it was released. He was already dead, and they know why they killed him. He died in a similar fashion to a character in the movie, Mandy, she actually was a blood sacrifice for Tom Cruise's character, because I guess Cruise was supposed to die and she volunteered to be the sacrifice instead. And her death was reported in the newspaper as an drug overdose. And that's Kubrick's way of showing people, when you see people in the news supposedly dying of overdose or heart attacks, or they're found dead in a hotel room, that's not the real reason they died. And then Kubrick himself, I think that was part of their, I don't know, you call it mocking or damping their authority. They had Stanley Kubrick die in a similar manner. But I think the reason they chose July 16th was, okay, you want to do an Illuminati whistleblower movie, we'll have your movie released on the day very significant to the Illuminati, July 16th, because that's when the Congress of Wilhelmsbad officially announced that they'd taken over Freemasonry. So I don't think that July 16th Wilhelmsbad anniversary and the release date for Eyes Wide Shut is a coincidence. But I just wanted to correct that mistake.
Well, good correction and good information again. No problem. You're forgiven. And appreciate you catching that.
Also, the July 31st, the reason July 31st was in my head, that's actually July 31st is when St. Ignatius of Loyola died. And that's also I don't know if you didn't necessarily connect it, but that's also Chelsea Clinton's wedding anniversary was July 31st. But I thought it was an interesting sequence of events. Remember the Leicester City owner, that's the English Premier League soccer team owner? He died in a helicopter crash.
Right.
That actually brought up memories of a previous English soccer team owner's death in an air crash. That was Matthew Harding, he owned Chelsea Football Club. And a couple days later, after the Leicester City crash, there's another a helicopter crash in the Hudson Valley, here where I live. And that was in Clinton County. I mean, so I don't know. Just the two names. There's the Chelsea owner who died in an air crash. That was brought to light because of the Leicester City owner. And then there's a couple days later another helicopter crash in Clinton County. But then there's another story in the Hudson Valley in Orange County, where an $8 million like a sports complex was bought by a Leicester City player. Just a couple of days later in Orange County. So that was just an interesting sequence. And that's actually Orange County and Hudson Valley. That's actually where Chelsea Clinton got married. And she got married on the property and the birthplace of John Jacob Astor IV. He was born. The property is called Rhinebeck. It's in Rhinebeck, New York, Orange County. It's called Ferncliff. That's where John Jacob Astor IV was born. That's where Chelsea Clinton was married on July 31st. Now the interesting thing is that John Jacob Astor IV's birthday is July 13th. That's 1-3. She got married at that location on July 31st, 3-1. So I mean, I don't think that's a coincidence, but it's just interesting numbers.
Very interesting as always. Keep up the good work, friend.
Can I say one more thing real quick?
Go ahead.
They said there were 42 migrants were arrested.
Right.
I had the theory that the migrant story is a ritual relating to the flight of the Israelites out of Egypt.
Right.
But and there was a Star of David on a truck carrying the migrants. 42 is also related to that because you have the 42 laws of Ma'at, which
comes from Egypt.
Which influenced the 10 Commandments of Moses. And Moses was the one who led them out of Egypt. Also, the word 10 equals 42 when you spell it out. In Sinai Peninsula, and it's based on sin, the moon god sin equals 42. So I think the 42 is kind of related to that.
Yeah, very possibly. Great thoughts.
Yeah, okay, that's it. Thanks for letting me talk again.
You're welcome. All right, have a good day, man.
How you doing?
All right. If anybody else wants to call in, the number is 509-731-0567. A lot of people are saying, look at this Kareem Hunt story. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to relocate this speaker. You guys can't see me. I was holding the speaker up with my hands throughout that because it has to be plugged in and couldn't reach the cord, but okay. Now we're adjusted. All righty. Let's see what's going on here with old Kareem Hunt. Jules in the chat said, these football players sure are savage to their women, but Jules, I assure you that this is some propaganda meant to shame black men again. Because what do you know? Oh, TMZ had to break it to us. They just had to add on to their list. Let's see how many days it is from Kareem Hunt's birthday. His birthday is August 6th, huh? Why did he get chosen? Why did he get chosen? So, today is 116 days later, or a span of 117 days. The 117 actually jumps out to me in a big way because that number is related to 13, and KC's 13. When you write out 13, it's 117. KC's 13. About his name, Gematria. Kareem A.J. Hunt. Isn't the man who established the Chiefs, isn't his name Hunt? Isn't his name Lamar Hunt? Kareem A.J. Hunt. He's got 127. That's the 31st prime number, right? We're on the day leaving 31 days left in the year. So that's probably part of it. Let's see here. Kareem Hunt's 116. And up here, what we just did a second ago was we counted the full span of days. So if we don't count the span, it's 116 days after his birthday. And Kareem Hunt's 116. I wish all the critics who say, "Man, you must just hunt around all day for numbers to make sense of this stuff." It's like, do you guys ever watch my live streams? Because it usually takes me like less than 30 seconds to figure out what the riddle is. And again, it's always the same thing. Just measure from the birthday, decode the name. I told you I started here with the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, and with that, I could see through almost every news story, even before I learned reverse. So, however, reverse is important. That's where KC's 13. You wouldn't see that without the reverse. And 13 is 117 with regards to the span. What about the other parts of his name? Hunt. Hunt's 45 like 13. And what about Kareem? Kareem's got that 53, like how we got Super Bowl 53 upcoming. So welcome to the NFL, Kareem. I'm pretty sure last year was his first season in the NFL, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I have to make a blog post about that there. I mean, that's the other thing that should be evident of how quickly I work through this. Look at how much content I cover every single day. If this stuff took a long time to figure out, I wouldn't be able to do, all of the posts that I do. It's because the formula is pretty simple. And with the internet and, being fairly efficient on the computer, stuff only takes seconds. Let me show you how fast I put a blog post together. What are we in? We're probably at like 20 seconds of screenshots right now. See how long it takes to post. Can I do this in under a minute? The internet runs slower when I'm on a live stream. Normally this part's snappier for me. So, and anyone can call in right now, by the way. Anybody can call in. But no doubt some more shaming of the black man on the date with 59 numerology by the numbers. I am so mad at myself that I didn't realize that 29 was the 10th prime yesterday. That would have been the money in the bank pick. I did give out most of the variables, but I should have saw that. That was huge. Oh, we got a caller. What's going on, caller?
Hey, Zach, I got a food decode because I think you are what you eat. And this company, Cenomx, has been in the news lately. Cenomx is Senomyx. Have you heard of them?
Spell it for me one more time.
Senomyx.
I haven't. This is first for me. Okay. Cenomyx.
Okay. Well, they're into flavorings, you see, and like all good companies, they have to own a patent on something in order to sell it, see? But what they own a patent on is a thing called a stem line. Cenomyx is 34 in the full reduction. Stem line is 34 in the base reduction.
Huh.
Now, in order to get a stem line, you have to abort a fetus. Abort is 34 in reverse full.
Huh.
Now, this brings whole new meaning to baby food, which is 4 in the full reduction.
Oh, man.
Now check it. See, the thing about abort also is that abort is, let's see here, it's 79 in reverse ordinal, which is the 22nd prime, which is also food in full reduction.
Huh, all right.
So I think it comes full circle on that one.
That's really gross. Ugh.
Well, it's in Doritos. It's in most Nestle products. It's I'm not even like there's more to it, but that's just kind of like
you hit a big one with me. They're saying most Nestle products. Something I was on 2 years ago that I used to always show children in school was why you should never buy Nestle bottled water, and I just show them how any brand of Nestle bottled water, if you take a water testing kit, the contamination in the parts per million is through the roof on all of their brands compared to everything else out there. So,
corporate masters.
That Nestle does. Nestle purposely contaminates their food. I have no doubt about it.
Well, I mean, it's in their name. I mean, I don't have my notes on Nestle, but like my big thing is food like codes, and like I've really been developing a lot of food codes because when you start to hire people, I want to do your food section.
All right, all right. I'm pulling up your. Is this your business on Facebook?
Well, it's you can go to our website, which is Fermenti Biz, like fermenti.biz.
Okay. I want to promote your website. There we go. This is it.
Well, I'll tell you, man. Like, see, it's like you are what you eat, and if you want to eat aborted like stem cells, then I think the numbers show that it's in what you're eating. But fermented food is just like the tip of like a health consciousness, and like I said, I think the last time I called, I was like, I've said a bunch of things and I could like talk all day long, but as far as like getting through to people, elevating your body and your mind through food is where you got to get. And like when you were talking about that 54 acres, dude, that totally tripping me out because like my name is 54 in reduction, full reduction. And I was like, oh God, it's totally like I felt it in my soul. I was like, I do a thing where we have whoopers. I don't know if you've heard about this organization, Work Away International Whoopers, and it's an organization to where you can have people come and stay with you if you've got a place for them to put them up. They'll do work in exchange for food, exchange for a place to live. It's a legitimate organization. Check that out. It's called Whoopers International. And a lot of like what you were saying about needing to like have like an agreement, that it's already out there. It just takes people to embrace the responsibility. I mean, somebody's got to own it first and foremost, and then what they have to do is have that ownership as the umbrella over the people that they can invite in to work, that they give that sanctuary to. And it does work. We use it all the time here on our farm, and it has its ups and its downs, but 90% of the time it's totally useful. And I mean, if somebody can like be your angel and like buy you that 54 acres, then do it. Somebody do it.
Well, that is very funny. Hey, you want to come out to Washington State, or are you happy where you are?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Once you start digging in, I mean, your roots go pretty deep.
Right.
And my whole family's from here. I'm from here, and we're getting ready to grow our first crop of hemp next year, and we've had to go through a lot of like government regulations and hoops in order to like get to this place.
I get it. No, that makes sense. Well, hey, if we do set up something like that out here, I'm sure you'd be happy to come out every once in a while and guide us and give us some of your expertise.
Well, just as long as you come out here and we can go up to DC and do some protesting.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good agreement and deal right there. So that is the plan. And I'm thinking by next week, I should have an announcement on some dates for this to actually happen and for help other people plan. So
I wanted to mention something about that DC thing. Going to like the lodge and protesting, isn't really going to do much because nobody even knows where the lodge is in DC. It's completely like, it's like that woman that called the other day said, you could protest in front of the Pentagon, but nobody would see it because it's basically like interstate all around it. Well, the lodge is the same way there. I mean, it's basically blocked off streets, and to go by it is kind of like unusual. It's not something that people even go to or go near.
So we want to pick more strategic spots.
Well, like I had joked about, hey man, pick 420 and hit the mall. Well, I got to thinking about that, and a lot of people go to the mall and they go to the monuments and the things that are on the mall because they're already half in the mind to understand the history of the country, and they're already half in the mind to like look at those things. Well, I mean, if you're there and you're at the Korean Memorial, I mean, why are there 13 hills? Why are there 13 soldiers? Why was the war a certain number of months long? Something to do with 13. And so on the mall, the people are already half in the mind to like experience something to do with the history of this country. And, you know, history is what we're all made of and what, you know, brings people to that place. And so, I mean, maybe there's something to that, you know, and kind of like getting to people in that space that they've already made themselves vulnerable in.
Right. That's a great point. So.
All right, man. Well, you know what? I appreciate everything you're doing, and peace out.
All right, man. You have a good day. Appreciate the recommendations. Take care, friend.
All right, bye.
All right, see you. So the phone line is open if anybody wants to call back. 509-731-0567. In the chat just tipped me off that there was another black racial shaming on TMZ today. And of course, it's just another example of news by the numbers, which we can figure out in 5 seconds by knowing the code. Yeah, we'll just leave it there. I'm sure there's even more, but it's enough. There's Kathy calling in. How are you, Kathy?
Hey, I don't have a question for you today, but no chat for me, and I'm seeing that I'm not the only one missing out on it.
The chat's not working?
No, it didn't come up as a link in the Patreon notice, and I see somebody else has commented, Cam Crawford, no chat, question mark.
There's other people in it right now. It seems to be working.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know it for some people. I just didn't get the link, and I'm saying that I see somebody else didn't too.
Huh. Strange.
Yeah, it had the place to click here, but there was no second link that said to link to the chat.
Maybe I forgot to link that. But if you click on the video and then click the YouTube logo in the lower right corner of the video, it should load up a window that has the chat.
And I got you now. Nope, that did not work. I did that. I clicked it. Oh, yep, now I am in chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on Patreon, but it didn't have the link. But I didn't know I could click to YouTube and get it. So
I forgot to link it. That's my fault.
Yeah, okay. I just didn't know about that second trick, so thank you for fixing me up. And don't forget, I leave for Vegas in the morning, so you got to get back to me.
Okay.
All right, talk to you later. Thanks for a great show. Bye-bye.
All right, have a good one, Kathy. Bye. Whoops. I forgot to do something. Yeah, some people have trouble getting to the chat if I don't link it in the description. So I got to remember to do that. Anybody else want to call in? If not, we can wrap it up. We are we're like at almost an hour and a half now. Again, if you don't read my blog, this is where I keep up with pretty much everything in the headlines. So now that we're doing the daily podcast, I am covering almost everything that I put on the blog. In history's past, I'd put a lot of information on the blog that I wouldn't do a video on. Did I get your messages today? I usually see your decodes. Yeah, I think I saw them. Keep up the good work. That's right. Kareem Hunt was the 86th pick and born on August 6th. Pretty sure last year he was drafted in the league and had some big 98 stat in college. Last year was the 98th NFL season. Looks like the chat figured out some 42 connection to the story as well. What do you know? Sarah Palin's house damaged, huh? See the comment about Anthony Hopkins, funny. Well, okay, so Jules says you don't think the story is real even if there's video. It's like the Adrian Peterson story. Or what was it? No, wait, it wasn't. It was Ray Rice. Ray Rice was the guy that was on video beating his girlfriend in the elevator, and that whole story was by the numbers. There's multiple things that could be going on. These guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do what they do, to play in these rigged sports leagues. What else? What other orders do they have to follow to collect their salary? I'm pretty sure Ray Rice has been blacklisted from the league. Is Ray Rice still in the NFL? But he walked away with a lot of money, millions of dollars, more money than most people will ever make in their lives. And again, what will people do for money? I remember back in the day, I was a kid. It was something on TV about what people would do just for tickets to the Super Bowl, and they had a guy, drinking from a toilet bowl with urine in it. There was some other disgusting stuff. I'm just pointing out that people will do, people will do really, disgusting things, terrible things for money. Millions of dollars. I'm sure people would do even more horrific things than Super Bowl tickets. So, but you can just see how the story rolls out by the numbers. The other thing that we wonder about are these athletes under mind control? And if they're under mind control, maybe they can be, made to do things such as beat their girlfriends. I don't know. There are questions here, but no doubt it's all rolled out as a perfect ritual. No rant about the trolls today. That was enough yesterday. I should have been focused on how 29 was the 10th prime number. I don't think anybody pointed that out, but I'll remember it next time. I'm sure we'll see the riddle again. All right, you guys, let's wrap it up here for the day. We'll be back Monday with the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tonight with the Friday Night Live decodes. My girlfriend told me I should cancel tonight. She wants to go do something else, and she has the week off. But anyway, we'll be back for the Friday Night Live decodes, and back for tomorrow with the NFL decoding, and then Monday we'll be back with the daily podcast. So have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Till next time.